Yellow Pages, wonderful things can happen.
Imagine me and you and me. No matter how they toss the dice, it had to be. The only one for me is you, and you for me. So happy together. I can't see me loving nobody but you for all my life.
To plan a small get-together or a lifetime together, this is the one that gets used. U.S. West Direct.
From WCCO Television, the community's first choice for news in the 90s. This is Don Shelby and Cindy Hilger. And this is the 6 o'clock news.
Good evening. Politics tops this edition of the 6 o'clock news as Democrats in 11 states and Republicans in 8 states choose who they want to run for president.
It is the first test for the Democrats since Iowa's Tom Harkin dropped out of the race, leaving 3 candidates in: Bill Clinton, Paul Tsongas, and Jerry Brown. Now, the polls are closing in the East, and Dan Rather has a live report on the projections for this Super Tuesday. Here's Dan Rather.
CBS News election headquarters in New York, our special report, headline of the hour: Florida does not sing a song for Tsongas. Bill Clinton takes Florida over Paul Tsongas. Big win for Clinton, boosts his prospects for a southern sweep, makes him the clear, by the voters, Democratic frontrunner. President Bush wins, but the Pat Buchanan protest vote persists in Florida. The polls have just closed down in the Sunshine State, the first of the Super Tuesday states. Now, with Clinton winning Florida, this was where a lot of the focus was in today's voting, because it was believed that if Tsongas could win anywhere, he might win in Florida. Didn't happen. Medicare and Social Security, big issues, and they apparently cut in Clinton's favor. Now, another big hour of decision is still ahead, including the biggest single block of delegates up for grabs tonight, Texas. So more returns in 1 hour on this CBS station, and a special report at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, and 6 Pacific time. Dan Rather, CBS News in New York.
All right, Dan, thank you very much. And we're going to have updated results from the states tonight at 10 from our government reporter, Pat Kessler. We also have some local news to pass along tonight,
including the debate over whether voters should know which congressman bounced checks. Also, the cause of the accident that killed a mother and her 3 children. What's causing delays at our airport. And next, people who say they're happy to pay higher taxes to help uninsured Minnesotans who need medical care. That's all coming up in 30 seconds.
We're jazzing things up at Cattle Company.
With the steak and the stuffed lobster, hey. But they never say heck, like when they dig the check and the cowboys are swinging all day.
Cattle Company presents stuffed lobster and top sirloin for a crazy $9.99. But not for long.
A proposal to provide health insurance to an estimated 200,000 uninsured Minnesotans got backing today from some unexpected sources. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota, as well as representatives of health maintenance organizations, announced that they do support the plan.
but critics insist that consumers who already have insurance will end up footing the whole bill. Esme Murphy reports.
Minnesotans without health insurance are getting closer to having it as support grows for a proposal before the legislature. Today, leaders of HMOs and insurance companies that represent more than 1 million Minnesotans said the proposal is a good one.
This plan ensures both access to health care and cost containment for all Minnesotans.
The proposal will be paid for in large part by a 2% tax on health care providers. HMO and Blue Cross officials say that's fine. But critics, including the Minnesota Hospital Association, argue the plan will simply pass on costs to consumers who already have insurance.
When you're talking about 2% on a $100,000 bill, that adds up pretty quickly. So I think it's somewhat flippant to simply say 2% is not very much. Depending on how this works out, it could certainly be a lot more than 2% or somewhat more than 2% for some individuals.
As debate on this measure gets underway tonight, critics may not get far. With bipartisan backing and what's seen as public support in an election year, some form of this proposal is expected to pass this legislative session. Esme Murphy, WCCO Television News, the Capitol.
The proposal also has the backing of Governor Arne Carlson. Now in some other news, failure to yield at a stop sign along a rural Stearns County road cost the lives of a young mother and 3 of her 4 children. The two-vehicle accident happened at this rural intersection about 8 miles northwest of St. Cloud. 30-year-old Denise Greeley was hit broadside by another car which had the right-of-way. She later died from her injuries at the St. Cloud hospital, the mother did. 3 of her children, ages 9, 12, and 13, were thrown from the car. They died at the scene.
And I got up and I looked out of the living room window and I just saw two bodies that hit the ground. So then I ran right away and I called 911. And then I came outside and then I saw the other bodies.
A 10-year-old daughter, who was also a passenger in the car, is in serious condition at a St. Cloud hospital tonight. The 22-year-old driver of that other car, the one that had the right-of-way, was treated and released.
The owners of a Burnsville mobile home returned to see wreckage today. No one was home when firefighters arrived to put out a fire at this home in Camelot Acres. One firefighter was treated for smoke inhalation at Hennepin County Medical Center, but firefighters have not determined the cause of that fire. At the International Airport today in the Twin Cities, problems and delays. Passengers had to wait as much as 2 hours before boarding flights to Chicago. A problem with Chicago's O'Hare's radar caused those delays. In some cases, flights from the Twin Cities were rerouted to nearby airports, such as Milwaukee. Our reporter Mike Walsher is out at the airport. Mike, are there delays still continuing?
Minor delays, Cindy, but nothing major. Northwest did have delays, though, of 2 to 5 hours earlier this morning, as 13 flights in and out of O'Hare and 8 flights in and out of Midway had to be canceled. American Airlines had delays of 4 hours and 20 minutes starting this morning and stretching into this afternoon. Now the delays are pretty minimal. They're well under 1 hour, and in fact, things are pretty much back to normal here, and we're told by airline spokespeople they will be entirely back to normal from here to Chicago by 7 o'clock this evening. Northwest says that passengers on those canceled flights were put onto other flights that left later. They switched to other airlines or diverted so they didn't have to go through Chicago. Now, we asked about the radar system here. Could it break down here? The FAA says it is conceivable that it could. It's never happened, though. The backups and the main system have always worked fine. Cindy?
So O'Hare's up and running as well?
Yes, it is.
All right, thanks, Mike. We'll keep you updated on that tonight at 10 if we need to.
Now, some Minnesota congressmen may be wondering how news about their bounced checks will affect their re-election chances. Next, the debate in Washington involving the Minnesotans and others who floated checks in the House accounts.
Also ahead, we will have accusations that the owners of Canterbury Downs Horse Track improperly pressured their employees. That's coming up in just a little while.
And what are the options for saving a historic Minneapolis bridge? Coming up later.
You're watching the 6 o'clock news on Channel 4.
Acura presents conclusive evidence that the term sedan doesn't always have to mean sedate. The Acura Legend.
Midwest Sports Channel's locally produced shows bring you a closer look and the inside scoop on sports coverage. For more than just the big game, turn to MSC.
This station has got the greatest reputation of all for breaking stories of any station in the nation. I don't consider this work. I consider it stealing money because I like it so much. See, a lot of guys in sports have got jobs. They don't like it like I do. I mean, to them it's a job, 8 to 5. To me, it's not.
Ride for fun, ride for exercise, and ride to Duluth. It's the WCCO MS 150. Join us on June 13th and 14th for the WCCO MS 150 bike tour from the Twin Cities to Duluth. It's not too early to start getting yourself and your bike in shape for the best and biggest bike tour in Minnesota. This year's ride promises to be one of the best. To register, stop by any Now Sports or call 870-1500 for your pledge packet. Then ride the WCCO MS 150 bike tour.
Well, rubber checks were the rule rather than the exception at a special bank for members of the House of Representatives. A majority of the members bounced checks, which may make some voters wonder how their representatives can try to balance the federal budget if they can't balance their own checkbooks.
We're going to find out who among the members up for re-election did bounce the checks. Alan Cox is here to talk about the 3 Minnesotans involved in the controversy under debate all over the place, but primarily in Washington right now.
That's right, Don. On Super Tuesday, we think about the presidency, but even when the presidency isn't at stake, it's easy to forget about congressional elections. Usually, they're not much of an election at all. More than 95% of incumbent House members who choose to run win re-election. Those incumbents now have something to worry about. 2/3 of the current U.S. House are on a secret list kept by the Ethics Committee for overdrawing their accounts at a payroll office, a sort of bank for congressmen. The worst offender wrote 996 bad checks in little more than a 3-year period. 3 of Minnesota's 8 congressmen have disclosed they overdrew their accounts. Congressman Jim Oberstar says he recalls 1 overdraft for a small amount that he paid the next day. Then Weber says he overdrew some checks. He says that if he'd had an account at a regular bank with overdraft protection, the interest would have come to about $90, so that's how much he paid. And Jerry Sikorsky had some overdrafts, for which he also paid interest. A spokesman says Sikorsky considers the amount personal because it was used as a housekeeping account by his family. Already, Republicans in Sikorsky's North Suburban District are threatening to campaign against him this fall on the issue of ethics.
Question arises, why isn't this public information, all of these House accounts, if there are so many people involved, and these are, of course, the public workers?
Well, Congress pretty much writes its own rules. The Freedom of Information Act, the various sunshine laws, they don't apply to Congress. And in this case, public money was not involved. When a congressman would overdraw his account, it would be covered by money in other congressmen's account. House leaders are wanting the 24 worst offenders named, and those names may come out later this week.
All right, well, then we have not heard the end of this by any means.
No, and you'll hear more as the election day grows near.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Canterbury Downs horse racing track has had money and political problems of its own. The horse racing in Shakopee has rarely drawn the crowds expected, and track officials want to expand betting on the horses to areas off the track. But a state lawmaker is trying to stop that effort with a lawsuit. Well, now another lawsuit. It alleges track officials threatened to fire track workers unless they pressured that lawmaker to drop his suit. Track officials say they will not comment on the allegation because it is in the court system.
Now, some grassroots politics going on in the northwestern metro suburbs. People are voting on a bond issue for a new high school that would go up in Maple Grove. You may have seen the story at 5 in our community news segment. We'll have the latest results from that big Osseo district vote tonight at 10.
Thank you.
When you practice conservation tillage to help protect the environment, you need the outstanding flexibility and proven effectiveness of Prowl herbicide. Applied pre-emergence or in early post-tank mixes, Prowl controls your toughest grasses and broadleaf weeds. You save money, too, up to 25% over other treatments. Prowl works like clockwork all season long. Get Prowl at your local Cyanamid Agri-Center dealer.
Give the floors in your home new life with help from Menards. New undercarpeting is on sale now. It's Scotchgard protected with an attached back for easy installation. Choose from 8 colors, just $7.99 a square yard. And get deep cleaning results anytime with the Bissell Power Steamer. It picks up where vacuum cleaners leave off. On sale now for just $137. Save on your home improvements every day at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Live. It's Walt Disney's World on Ice all-new double feature. With America's newest hero, Darkwing Duck. See Mickey, Louie, Roger in 2 cool adventures for the price of 1. And starring you in a live music video. See all your Disney pals in person. And let them see you.
Coming to Target Center March 18th through 22nd. Tickets on sale now at Target Center, Ticketmaster, or call 989-5151.
Now, you can get more car for less money. The new All-American Achieva from Oldsmobile. Lease for only $199 a month with nothing down. The new Achieva has anti-lock brakes, air conditioning, automatic, power locks, stereo cassette, and much more for only $199 a month with nothing down. Now that's the power of intelligent engineering. See your new generation of Oldsmobile dealers today. We've got the edge.
Rebecca's back. You missed a good storm, Rebecca.
I missed a good storm, and I left 60-degree weather to come back, so I must like it here.
Yeah.
We hope you do.
Well, I do, and unfortunately, the cold weather's going to stick around, but if you wait a week, we'll try to get it back up into the 40s. How's that? Okay, we can do that for you. Outside, the weather guide, let's take a look at where we are and where we should be for this time of the year. Last week, we were talking about above normal temperatures. Well, today, it is definitely below normal temperatures. Our high today, only 25 degrees. Low was 10 degrees in both categories. We missed the average by almost 10 degrees in each one. Temperature right now is 22. Winds are out of the northwest at 13 miles an hour, so it makes it feel like it is 1 degree temperature out there. Barometer is holding steady at 30.07. As we take a look at some temperatures around the 5-state region, these are wind chill temperatures, so if you go outside and it feels cold, well, it actually is very cold with the wind. In fact, we're looking at most areas in the teens and single digits and even in the sub-zero temperatures. International Falls, actually not too bad with a little bit of wind at 17 degrees, considering this morning they woke up to a temperature of 7 degrees below zero. Down at Rochester, very cold there, 14 below. Looks like Mason City, Iowa at 7 below. The reason why it's so cold, the jet stream tells the story. This thing has been ushering in some very cold Arctic air. It is to our south. As a result, we're getting the cold air, and the cold air plunged all the way down into Kansas City, and this is what it looked like 36 hours ago. People were out walking around in their shorts and short sleeves. The flowers out there, the saucer magnolias in full bloom 1 month ahead of schedule. Of course, this is what they looked like this morning. They fell victim to the cold frost, as did many of the trees and flowers in blossom. Fruit growers, of course, concerned about the peaches and apples out there because the cold snap was enough to do some damage. And then in St. Louis, you can see it didn't get any better. The cold weather there played havoc with drivers. So cold air just about anywhere you go. Even here at home, it's very cold. In fact, the weather's been so mild around the Lake Calhoun that it's been melting a little bit. Matt Balow is out there now to tell us what the conditions are now since we've had the cold weather. Matt?
Well, Rebecca, there's not a lot of open water right now on Lake Calhoun, just a little bit right by the shore, and there's a very thin layer of ice there, and of course, no flowers here. But it won't be just a couple of months, and people will be sun-tanning here. Still, this is the kind of weather with a little bit of wind coming off the lake that we normally get in February, so a couple of days I think most people can handle. We have clear skies right now, but there are some clouds off on the northwestern horizon. Those clouds could spell some snow, and for the details on that, let's go back inside where it's warm to Rebecca.
Thank you, Matt. We can see those clouds on the satellite picture as they're starting to push their way in our direction. That's going to continue moving, bringing the threat for, unfortunately, some snow showers in the area, but not a big storm. It looks like 1 inch, if we're lucky, is going to be passing through. The forecast then looks like this for tonight. We're going to start increasing the clouds. We'll go with a shot for light snow. 12 degrees will be the overnight low. Tomorrow, as we look at the forecast, cloudy skies, light snow still possible. High of only 28 degrees, but a little warmer than today. Wind southeast at 5 to 10. Tomorrow night, mostly cloudy, scattered flurries, 15 degrees for an overnight low. And as we move into Thursday, let's go with partly sunny, but despite all the sunshine, it's still going to be very cold. Looks like our high will be about 28 degrees. And down the road, unfortunately, that jet is not going to move, which means the Arctic air will continue plunging in, but the temperatures will be slow to warm up by Sunday. We'll be lucky if we make it to 37 degrees with partly sunny skies.
Okay. Thanks, Rebecca. You're welcome.
Troubled bridge over Minneapolis waters is the topic of debate among Hennepin County commissioners right now. The historic Stone Arch Railway Bridge was the first of its kind to span the Mississippi. That was back in 1883. It's been closed for several years now, and now the board must decide whether to renovate it for vehicle traffic as well as bicycling and walkways. That would be at a price of $3 million, or they could just renovate it for the biking and hiking for $700,000. The debate started today. It will continue. A decision is planned in about 2 weeks.
Baseball news is up next. An update on Bo Jackson. Scott Reynolds with the story in 2 minutes.
Oh no! Forgot to add the fabric softener. If only he knew about Solo. You can't forget the softener in Solo, because Solo is detergent and fabric softener in one. Look, these muddy sweatshirts came out clean, but Solo's clean is so soft, it's fluffed up higher. Don't stop! Don't! Next time, it stopped. Get Solo. It cleans with a softness you can't forget.
You saw them at the Minneapolis-St. Paul Auto Show, the show-stopping 92 Pontiac Grand Ams. See them now at your Pontiac dealer and get a $500 bonus cash certificate. Factory cash back totaling $1,000 on any new 92 Grand Am. Consumers Digest calls Grand Am a best buy. With bonus cash, you'll call it a great buy. Hurry, offer positively ends March 21st. See your Pontiac Excitement dealer today.
Light. It is the first element of creation. Nothing brings it more elegantly or shapes it more beautifully than Andersen windows and patio doors. Come, live in the light of Andersen windows. Come home to Andersen.
DHL was making express deliveries overseas before Federal Express was even in business. With a head start like that, we can simply do things others can't. DHL, faster to more of the world.
It's hard to remember a more compelling story than the story of Bo Jackson, the troubles and his medical problems and his future, but there are at least some new things to say tonight.
Well, he's going to give it a shot. He's going to try a path that's never been successful before, really never been done before, except maybe Neil Lomax. Although they released Bo Jackson, the Chicago White Sox aren't about to give up on their injured outfielder. Today's move allowed them to re-sign him at a significantly lower salary, about $100,000 instead of $900. If anything, Bo's hip problems got worse during the offseason. He hit well during the first week of spring training, but had to drag his leg around the bases. And, of course, well, that had to lead to a decision, and he says he'll go with hip replacement surgery. It's possible, though, that his football and baseball careers are over.
It's too bad. You know, there's only one guy like that that has the talent that he possesses, and you know, hopefully something will happen with a miracle operation or something and get him back playing, because he's quite a talent.
No one's ever come back from hip replacement surgery to play professional sports, and after learning about Bo's release, the Sox took the field against the Twins today in windy Fort Myers. It didn't help much that the Twins were against Jack McDowell. Just ask Chili Davis, a strikeout victim there. He went 1 for 4 in the Twins' 8-2 loss. Bright spots for the Twins include Scott Erickson, 3 scoreless innings for him. The elbow's fine. Pedro Munoz with a solo home run. And the Twins now 2-2 in spring training, facing the Detroit Tigers tomorrow. And one big trade in the big leagues today. Unhappy outfielder Kirk Gibson going to Pittsburgh. Left-hander Neil Heaton, the short-time Twin, moving to the Kansas City Royals. Tomorrow, a little hockey history. The first 2-tier state high school tournament around the rinks. Grades are being given on the controversial move that splits the classes based on strength of program through coaches' seedings at the end of the season.
I think the way they ended up doing it was with the seeding makes it really political. I think they're better off leaving it the way it was.
Well, some of the Centennial fans seem to think that if they would have lost the last couple of regular season games, they could have been in Tier 2 instead of Tier 1, and they got shellacked by Roseville, good team, you know, as soon as they entered the Tier 1.
That is one potential problem, playing down to get into Tier 2. As for the coaches, like the fans, the grades vary.
My preference would have been to do it by size, therefore having a quality basis.
It seems really good for our program. It gives the players a chance to set their goals at something more realistic and attainable.
And making it attainable for a school like Hutchinson was part of the original intent. But what about a school like Rosemount? Its enrollment by far the biggest in Tier 2. The Irish qualified by winning just 1 regular season game, but they're in the state tournament. And Rosemount's apologizing to no one.
To us, it's a big success to get to the Tier 2, as it would be to get to the Tier 1 also.
Even though you're a big school.
Right, right.
I don't think it takes anything away from the Tier 1, and it's a great opportunity for 8 more teams to have the same experience.
Tier 2 has created more interest in small communities, which can lead to new arenas and more kids playing the sport. Overall, the feel seems to be the system is working in its first year with a few kinks. Well, with the trading deadline for the NHL, 2 o'clock today, former Gopher Dave Snuggerud was dealt from Buffalo to San Jose for Wayne Presley. The North Stars made 2 minor deals, acquiring center Mark Janssens from the New York Rangers. He'll join the club while Bobby Reynolds will be sent down to Kalamazoo. 2 young prospects, and the North Stars need to replenish some youth. Janssen could help immediately.
An experienced player. He's played in the league for a couple of years with the Rangers. He's a very strong defensive player, and he's a tough player. And I think that we lost a lot of young players to San Jose last year, and this was a way of starting to replenish some of our younger players again.
And negotiations have broken off between the players' union and the NHL and management, but Norm Green says expect an 11th hour decision. He should know.
Hope we have some Blackhawks tape tonight. LeBlanc in net tonight.
That's it.
We'll be right back.
You make me feel so young. You make me feel there are songs to be sung. And every time I see you grin.
Promise Spread has no cholesterol and is lower in saturated fat than leading margarines.
You make me feel so young.
Promise. Get heart smart.
Savings that really add up. It's one reason you should consider switching from Dual to Eradicane herbicide. Because with the new lower price of Eradicane, the best buy in herbicide just got better, making it the product to choose for healthy corn and healthy profits.
Eradicane, the smart start. Oh, yeah. Red cars, red lips, red stars, red fingertips, red walls, red songs, red bowling balls, red telephones, red spots, red sheets, red white and blues, red pillows on your bed. Start seeing red. You're right on target. Start seeing red. Smart shoppers look our way. Seeing red. You're right on target. Start seeing red, red, right on target.
We have sale prices on every used car, truck, and van at Towsley Ford and Towsley Truck Center. Not only do we have Ford cars and trucks, but we have Lincolns, Mercury, Chevys, Buicks, Chryslers, imports, over 250 to choose from. And Towsley's vast buying power has made us the largest Ford factory redistribution point in the upper Midwest, with over 150 Ford factory program cars, like 91 Probe GLs with automatic air, stereo, and much more, as low as $89.95. Repeat, $89.95. Every used vehicle is sale price right now. Towsley Ford and Towsley Truck Center, White Bear Lake.
After 15 years apart, a heartwarming mother and child reunion. Don't miss the next Inside Edition.
Tuesday night at 10:35 on Channel 4.
A follow-up now on an effort to help the homeless.
You might remember photographer Mike Blumberg and former Viking Matt Blair put together a book of local celebrities posing in their dream roles. Well, today, Blair and some of the people who posed in the book were at the Dorothy Day Center dishing up food for the less fortunate of us. Blair also had a present for Catholic Charities, a donation from the book sales.
It's something that Mike and I, we put in the book for Homeless Dream, and it says, it's by Cindy Adamson, savor the warmth, fond memories, create the special moments of today, enjoy the crest of your dreams. And our dreams for 2 years has come to life, this project called Homeless Dreams, and here's a check for $98,000.
$98,000. They said it's the largest single check they ever received by that group. Way to go.
Yeah, good night.
Feel of the road, the look of the sky, view of the world as it passes by.
The 92 Mercury Sable, now with over 200 refinements. Refinements like standard driver and available passenger side airbag, plus optional ABS brakes, a safety combination offered by no other manufacturer in its class. At your Lincoln Mercury dealer now.
All this in the quality of a Mercury.
Dear Walgreens, I just wanted to say how pleased I am with your pharmacy. My daughter got sick while we were on a trip. Your pharmacists and my pediatrician coordinated everything through your satellite system. My daughter received the medication she needed, even though we were hundreds of miles from home. Thank you, Walgreens. P.S. My daughter is fine now.
Here's a good as gold photo finishing special. Get a second set of color prints for 99 cents, up to 36 extra prints. Next day, next door, from Walgreens.
Now watch the bouncing balls at 6:50, only on Channel 4.
America's most watched game show. The famous wheel is spinning your way with lots of cash and an assortment of fabulous and exciting prizes. Over $155,000 just waiting to be won this week. And now, here are your host and hostess at Sajak and Vanna White.
Hey, thank you, Charlie. Thanks, folks. It's Wheel of Fortune. Thanks a lot, and welcome to our show. Glad to have you with us, and we're now going to meet our three